Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You don't mind if I talk to you while you eat? Okay, good. I'm so excited to be here. I truly believe that the Lord and Karima, your director, women's director, had a conversation with Jesus and decided to pull us out of our prayer closets where we can come and break bread and share and pray together. So I am so grateful for this time with you today. In the days and times in which we live, we truly need Jesus. And so your theme today is prayer will move mountains. Notice the word will. How many of you believe that prayer will move mountains? Praise God. But I want you to know, ladies, and I believe that faith must move your mouth before it moves your mountain. What does that mean? I need somebody to explain that to me. We're going to talk today. Faith must move your mouth before it moves your mountain. And if you will just pause for 2 seconds, I'm going to invite God's presence in our prayer room for today. Let us pray. Dear Lord our God, I pray now through the teaching of your holy word, our souls will be fed, our minds will be enlightened, and our hearts will be fortified. Our witness might be encouraged, and through our prayers, our mountains will be moved. Speak, Lord, for your servant daughters are listening. For the Christ in God we pray. Amen. Amen. Notice I'm talking to you without my glasses. Let me get them on. Mercy. Okay. So let's continue. What does that mean? Somebody talk to me. Faith must move your mouth before it moves your mountain. Now, if you've had that experience in your life, can you explain to me someone, how does faith move your mouth? What do you have to do?
Do prayer.
Speak.
Speak what?
What you desire.
Speak what you desire.
Speak what you desire to the Lord, and when you receive it, testify of his goodness.
Testify of his goodness. Very good. Anybody else? What about speaking to your mountain? That's right? Speaking to your mountain. Mark 11:23 tells us, truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, go throw yourself where? Into the sea. Very good. And does not doubt in their heart, but believe what will happen, it will be done for them. Is that all right? Mountains happen. Sometimes you're born a long life. There's nothing there. And all of a sudden, you have this big, insurmountable obstacle standing in front of you. It's too difficult to climb, too wide to go around. The only thing that can happen, it has to move out your way. So, if your faith isn't strong enough to move your mouth, then your mountain will not move. And if we cannot speak our faith, then we have to check ourselves. Now there's different levels of faith. We've got to have some kind of faith, some level of faith. Sometimes life can get us so down that we feel like we're so empty. There may not be enough faith in your heart to speak, but the Bible says out of the abundance of the heart, whatever's in your heart will come out. I need for us to discuss what are some mountains we women experience We have a bond. What are some mountains? Are they hardships? Fear?
Yes.
Anger?
Yes.
Bitterness?
Yes.
How about discouragement?
Yes.
Disappointment?
Yes.
Failure?
Yes.
Depression and sorrow?
Yes.
How about pressure from friends and family?
Yes.
Self-esteem, and no matter how old you are, sometimes we can feel so low about ourselves.
Oh, yes.
How about sickness? Why do we feel that we cannot move the mountain of sickness? Sometimes we feel that way. Whatever the doctor tells us, that's what we go with. What about God being your doctor? What about finances?
Yes.
Mountain of finances? When you're faced with a mountain, the way you can get that mountain to move is how you approach God. Do you believe that? Your prayers reflect what you believe about God. Small prayers reflect a small God. And when we're talking about big prayers, we're not talking about too glorious and ambiguous. We're not talking about that. But when you approach God and you tell God it's not about me, it's all about you. Many times we focus on the mountain and don't focus on the power of God. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Let's not forget Psalms 104, where it says what? Enter his gates with thanksgiving. Can someone share with me? When was the last time you had a mountain and you entered the gates first with thanksgiving? Does anybody have a testimony? Are you telling me when we see these mountains we don't thank God, and what is it that we do?
I asked for the Lord.
I'm not hearing you. When we pray, Romans 8:26 tells us that the Spirit of God will give us utterances. And sometimes we don't even have the words, we begin to groan. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Have you been on your knees and you didn't have the words, you just began to cry?
Yeah.
Let me remind you that tears are liquid prayers. Tears are liquid prayers. Did you know that? God understands every tear that comes out your eye.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have to do a thing, but just cry. And sometimes after we cry, we feel so much better. So he understands the moans, he understands the tears, he understands just what we cannot say. But I have a little testimony for you, and then I'm going to bring Mother Walden up because she had a huge mountain in her life. And I want her to go in detail, but before she comes, I have a testimony for you. Recently, when I say recently, I would say the last, I've been down here in Florida for 7 years. I would say the last 5 years. The devil was on my track, my family's track. And I think it's because I find that when you're doing the work of the Lord, when you're going around encouraging people, the devil's so angry.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes in your home, ladies, I'm telling you, for your husbands and your children, we've got to make time for ourselves and for them. It's not healthy to be passing shifts. Sometimes our schedules become so busy. You've got to make time for the family. And so the devil was after my family. It was dealing with a marriage strain. And so I sat down with the Lord and I said, Lord, I'm going to give everything to you. But then I didn't. I began to take it back. I began to solve it for myself. And I saw that was not working. So I turned to Mother Walden, who is my prayer warrior, and I began to share with her. I began to share with my parents. Those three persons knew what I was going through. Mother Walden said, you've got to go to God differently. God is a detailed God. And you've got to break down to God what you are feeling. I said to Mother Walden, what if? She says, no. Every time you say what if, you're stopping God from doing what he needs to do.
Yes, sir.
I said, but what if he? No. She said, that's not the way to do it. I said, well, Mother, teach me. What do I do? Mother Walden started to pray a prayer. She prayed a prayer. I mean, the words, I know God understood all she was saying, because at that point, my head was just so full of what is going on in my life. Mother Walden had everybody in the scenario a name in the Bible. This person was this person. I was somebody. The judge was somebody else. The lawyer was somebody else. Everybody had a name according to the Bible and their behavior in the Bible. Mother Walden prayed so passionately that night and so long that she lost her voice. And all she can do was utter and groan. You hear what I'm saying? And I appreciated every utter and groan. I couldn't understand it, but God did. And so I held on to Joel 2:25. That's my text. God can restore what is broken and change it into something amazing. All you need is faith. It's talking about the locust, that text. And I held on to that. The next morning, and I want to remind you, when we pray, we talk to God. When we read scripture and get into the word, God is speaking to us. So we've got to take what he's saying. And I held on. The next morning, I went to a meeting where I had to be before everybody. When I got there, my faith was as small as a mustard seed. But I held on to that little seed. Held on to the seed, walked in the place. For the first time, I'm rejoicing. Because God said he's God all by himself. And if I don't believe that he's God by himself, then something is wrong here. I'm doing all this praying and all this worshiping. You promised to be my God. So I fussed with him and I told God, if you are a God of restoration, everything's going to be all right. So I walked in, had on my little piece of seed, my little faith seed, sat down. And when everybody started talking, I said, but what is going on here? I looked up at the ceiling and I said, Lord, you are not playing. All of a sudden, these lawyers are talking about how we can actually fix it ourselves, and they don't even need to be involved. I'm hearing what he said, and I'm like, wow. And I know how I feel. Before you know it, that place was a church service. Everything that Mother Walden prayed, as far as who was this person and who was that person, their behavior acted as such. I had chills. I said, oh my goodness. They could not understand. I was rejoicing. I started singing. They wanted to then know, who is this God that you serve? He was prayed up. I was prayed up. We came together and taught them about Jesus. there. That doesn't happen there. But it's the mountain moving prayers that makes a difference. We're not praying anymore, ladies, just to pray. We're doing mountain moving prayers. I am still at all at the fact we walked out of there different to the way we came in. And still to this day, the lawyers, the people involved, I'm in touch with, and they want to know more about Jesus. Amen. You talking about God moving a mountain? And sometimes you wonder, okay, Lord, why are you not moving this? Why are you taking so long? That day, I needed that mountain moved. Sometimes he takes a while to strengthen our character, to strengthen our faith in him. He wants us to bombard heaven. He wants us to hold on to him. And you must do it. The moment the devil tells you, let go, you hold on hard. And you tell the devil, you know who your God is. And that testimony I take everywhere I go. To see God, everything we prayed for, unfolded before my eyes. I'm telling you, I shivered as I sat there. And I said, okay, God, I know you're real. I'm not going to doubt you. But I went in rejoicing with my little seed. Did you hear me, ladies? Yes. With my little seed. And so what are some mountain-moving prayers? They are prayer of faith. The Bible says in John 14:14, if ye shall ask anything in my name. Another mountain-moving prayer is faithful praying. How many of us start praying and then we stop after 2 or 3 days? Or after a week or two, even after a month? Keep praying. You'd be surprised what's happening as you're praying. Pray without ceasing. How about fearless praying? What's fearless praying? There's a confidence, a boldness you have to go to God with. Not disrespect, but a confidence and a boldness that he's putting in you. And you've got to talk to God and let him know you are my God. And only you can do it. That is that fearless prayer. So we have what? Faithful praying. What's the first one? Faithful praying. Fearless praying. Prayer with fasting. My mother used to fast back in New York, every Wednesday. And then she changed to every Friday. Our devotion to God must be so strong that we skip sleep. We're going to get up in the midnight hours when it's quiet. That's what Jesus did. When he prayed to the Father, he was alone. Midnight hour prayers are the best prayers. We're going to skip eating if we can. Some of us are on medication, so we can't. But if we can just do some type of sacrifice for the Lord and be serious. You want that mountain to move? Start that mountain moving prayer. And the last one I'm going to give you, focus on God and not the mountain. I don't care what it is. Focus on God. I will bring up Sister Walden at this time. I don't know how many of you know her, but she had stage 4 cancer. The doctor gave her 3 months to live. It's been 4 years. What did she do? She prayed over herself. She did not focus on the disease, but she focused on the powerful God who made her. And after 4 years, she goes every 6 months. They can't find a thing. But she's going to break it down for you, and if you have questions for her, somebody here in this room need something moved out of their lives.
Yes, Lord.
And you need it done now.
Yes, Lord.
If that's the case, we've got to change the way we pray. And things are still coming my way. It is not perfect. But my attitude is, I know today, after all these years of loving Jesus and calling myself knowing Him, I know who I am today, who I belong to. But I had to go through experiences to get here. And I'm not going to let the devil shake me. Because I know who He is. This is it. I know who God is. Ladies, when you leave here today, try God like never before.
Amen.
Promise me you will do it. And then all of a sudden you will go around testifying, because when God moves that mountain in your life that's been just there, beating you down, and you know it's just God that can move it out, it's going to make you walk and talk differently. And so at this time, I'm going to bring Mother Walden. I want you to hear her story. She should not be here today. But she took time to listen to sermons. She ate the Bible. She didn't read the Bible. She ate the Bible. Every word. She prayed over herself. And I'm going to ask her to pray over the prayer request box, because we're going to be writing on our mountains in a little bit. And I want Mother Walden to pray over that box. Watch and see, won't God move up and down in your life. Amen. So at this time, Mother Walden, please come forward. That's fine.
You want to pat your right on?
I'm going to give you what these mountain moving prayers are. You can just write it down on your pads so you will have it. Number 1. Did everybody get a pad? Not quite. No, not yet. Okay.
Oh, is that on?
Must speak to your mountain and leave the rest to the Lord, because we're not focusing on it. Faith must move your mouth before moving your mountain. Number 1, you need to have the prayer of faith. And if you could jot down John 14:14, Mark 9:23, that says, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth him. And this last one, Jeremiah 33:3, where it says, call unto me.
And I will answer and show
That's
you
right.
the marvelous things which
That's
I
right, Jeremiah 33:3. So we have 3 texts here, John 14:14, Mark 9:23, Tyler, and Jeremiah 33:3. That's under the prayer of faith. Ladies, we've got to change the way we're praying. Number 2, faithful praying. Number 2, faithful praying. You are praying without ceasing. You are not stopping after 2 and 3 weeks. You're going to pray until you see a change come. Faithful praying. And your homework for that is to go into Scripture and see where faithful praying is. Faithful praying. Do some research. Faithful praying. You're starting off in weakness and you're ending up in strength. That's the kind of faith that you're looking for. Pray. You're asking, you begin with asking, and then you end with thanking. That's the type of prayer we're looking for. Asking and thanking at the end. That's number 2, faithful praying. Number 3, fearless praying. God doesn't want us to approach him being beggars or we're unworthy. He wants us to come with confidence and boldness. That's what he's looking for. Pray for something definite. Let me have you jot this down. Pray for something definite. Earnestly desire it. Write that down. Earnestly desire it. Pray for something definite. Earnestly desire it. Do not question God's ability. Persevere in that prayer. That means keep praying. And the last one with this piece, add works to our faith. That means act like you've received it and you know who your God is. Add works to our faith. Pray for something definite. This is fearless prayer. Earnestly desire it. Do not question God's ability. Persevere in prayer. Keep going. Add works to our faith. Act as if you received it and you know who your God is. That's number 3, fearless prayer. Number 4, prayer with fasting. Your devotion is more important than eating, and you can fix that any way you want, sleeping, and fellowship. Instead of us maybe talking on the phone or talking to someone about it, we need to hang up that phone and find a prayer closet and go pray about it. Talk to Jesus who can fix it. Your devotion is more important than eating, sleeping, and fellowship. We've got to sacrifice sometimes. That's prayer with fasting. And the last one. Focus on God and not the mountain. In this, I'm going to take my time to give you these questions. And this is what I do to help myself. Focus on God and not the mountain. Number 1, write this down. What is a mountain in your life? What is the mountain in your life? Number 2, how do you deal with it? Number 3, how do you seek comfort? Next question. How do you go to God? These are questions we're going to take back home with us wherever we go. We're going to work it out. How do you go to God? Next question. How strong is your faith? Next question, do you allow your faith to waver? Next question. Did you ever speak to your mountain? And the last question. If you had to speak to your mountain, what would you say? Let these questions direct your life as you live every day. And start using these moving mountain prayers. We begin to think differently and walk and talk differently. Mother Woman.
Thank you, anyway. You know how I feel about that. All right. The mountain in my life started in 2006, as a matter of fact. In 2006, I was diagnosed with a polyp. And I was teaching in Mount Sinai, and I got this call from the doctor that did the colonoscopy and said you had a polyp, and it was cancerous. So they gave me surgery for that. Now that's 2006. So my doctor said, why don't you get a colonoscopy again? Then they found some cancer in the lymph node in this part of the body. So what? I guess you can hear me right now. Okay, I'll go like this. What happened was that I had to go for a PET scan, and guess what? It glowed only in that one spot. That confused the doctor. They said, from 8 years, you're going to just have something in one spot. God put it there for a reason. So I was taking treatment at that time. That treatment was tough. And I think back about how I refused to take treatment for the first time. But she didn't press me. She said, well, just keep looking. And I would go to test, to get tested. And that's the one that showed up, the cancer in the lymph node. Let me tell you something, sisters and brother. That sugar that you love so well was the same thing that caused them to see where the cancer was. They gave me a sugar water, and it went and lit up that same spot. Cancer loves sugar.
Mercy.
You might think that's, somebody say, oh, you stop eating all that sugar, but you never know what you're setting yourself up for. It can get you sooner or later. And so that's how they found out. It stopped right at that spot. And then when they asked about taking treatment, this time I said I would go along with it. But yet the medicine that she was going to use, and she said was the worst kind. I said, oh, well, why can't I just get something better? But she said, well, what I had, I needed it. Because the lymph node is in your entire body. There is no spot where that lymph nodes are.
Mercy.
And you can say, oh, well, it got it here. But in the meantime, look, it took 8 years to metastasize. Metastasize means it travels to some other place. So what happened was that after I found it out, and I was taking the treatment, and so the doctor called me on the phone. He said, your treatment was so good, I'm not going to give you any surgery. So I can continue the treatment. So my friend was with me, and she said to the doctor, because we wanted to go to the general conference. She said, well, she thought maybe it was just something in 1 week, and the next week I can get started again. So she sent me 3 months to rest from the treatment. My friend said to me, why don't you go to general conference, and or even go to Yuji Pines. You have a nephew there. That's what I did. I went to Yuji Pines, stayed there 17 days, came back. First of all, remember that thing that you all don't like, castor oil? That's the first thing I met when I got there. But to make a long story short, those 17 days actually made me feel better, but I am still with neuropathy. Even though you see me playing that violin, that's the God doing that. My fingers at the end have neuropathy in it. So anyway, I did go to the general conference. But when I got to the general conference, there was a lady there that had cancer as well. She recommended me to every day read Psalms 118, 14.
Psalms what?
I'm trying to see where I have it on here, guys. It's a little bit different. Yeah, that's the one. Let me take a look to be sure that that's the one. I can't find it on my notes here. That's 118, 14, I believe it is. Will you write it down? Let me be sure. It says, no, it's not 14, 17. I shall not die.
Verse what?
Verse 17, Psalm 118, 17.
Psalms 118, 17.
I shall not die but live and declare the works of the Lord.
Amen.
I relied on that text, but the one also that I relied upon was found in Jeremiah. I believe it's Jeremiah 17, 14. Let me check that, make sure I have that right. That's the one that let me take a look at it. I want to be sure I give you the right number, reference. And that's Jeremiah. And this was the text that I got before I even went to the conference. And I relied on that text to help me through the first time. Jeremiah 17, and I'll be sure I gave you the right reference. And it says, heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise. And I've been praising him since.
And that's Jeremiah.
Jeremiah 17, 14. I used that text long before I went to the conference, general conference. I was very weak, but I still went anyway. And the thing about it was so blessed because, you know those stairs, but those who went to it and coming up from the bus, I was the first one at the top. And the others were complaining, how is it that you're so sick and you up at the top? I said, well, you know, if you had to go somewhere, you better get going. I can't wait for you all to slowly go up there. I had to get up fast. So I went through that process, but at the same time, I'm going back now to church. I came to church and had not been there for some time because I was laying on the couch. I faced my crisis with peace in God.
Amen.
I didn't get up there and pining about why I got this. I said, Lord, you must have a purpose in this. So I had a couch in the front. In my living room, I lay on the couch and I went to sleep. I listened to the 3ABN whole channel, and also I got service from Mount Sinai. At the same time, when I came to church one Sabbath, I found Dr. Alves there and her family. I told her what happened to me, and she said, you know, I'm going to pray on it, but I'm going to pray a different kind of way. I'm going to write on it. She wrote to God all the time I was going through my treatment. She kept pacing me everywhere I went when I was at the general conference because she wanted me to show say too, because she had anything to do with it, I would be on the bus. But it had been already planned, so I went. I was determined to go. But the thing about it is, sisters, find somebody who will pray for you because they can help you go through anything. But then when I finished such that I was able to come back to church on a regular basis, then we decided to take a trip. That trip took us to the Bahamas, Dr. Alves and I. And of course there were times I was very much afraid, and so she would walk down ahead of me to be sure that if I fell, because I was very, very weak. But that walking up and down those stairs, she was determined to give me exercise to get away from home. so that I could start healing process. Then I came up here and joined them with the ministry. But at the same time, my best helper, my friend, Sister Glow, I had trouble getting out of her car each time, and she would always be right there to help me down and help take care of me. She always looked to see if I'm okay. And she was right there with me to the day, my best friend. You need somebody. You can't just sit and say, well, I don't feel good, I'm just going to keep it to myself. Do you know your immune system can go downhill just doing that? Share with somebody. Then knowing somebody's praying for you, that God is hearing their prayers as well. And so that's what kept me from going off into a depression. Every time I go for treatment, the nurse come up to me and says, are you depressed? I said, no. They gave me this high dose of medicine that is like Benadryl. It was Benadryl. I didn't want to sleep. I slept so hard until somebody called me on the phone. I couldn't find my phone. But the thing I'm trying to get you to understand is when you have something going on in your body, share it with somebody that you know will pray for you, not tell you, I'll pray for you and you know what happened. And it's the prayers of my adopted daughter over there and my family here that kept me going. And that's what I'm relying upon. I did not look at the mountain. I looked at Christ because he was the healer. I know she mentioned that you know what to do with your mountain. I turned my mountain over to him. And I said, you take care of it. I'll rest. And I did. When you're ill like that, you need rest. And many of us are sick because we don't get it. So that's what I did. I faced my problem with turning it over to the Lord and just relax and let him do his business. Because I knew I couldn't do it as weak as I was. There was no reason for me to try to tackle anything. I needed to be still and know that God is God. If he's going to heal me, he will do so. But I was not going to contribute to my demise by thinking about, I'm going to, wondering whether God did the right thing, and I'll sit there and moan and groan. No. I said, I'm going to relax here in the Lord. You do your thing, and then I'll serve you the best I can. Amen. So one day, the doctor, Alves, asked me, why don't you play your violin? Because when I was at Old Union Pine, I tried to play the guitar, and the girl gave me, and those fingers felt like somebody was cutting them with a knife. But soon as I accepted the responsibility of doing work for the Lord, I could still play. And I followed what you said. Because I knew that if God intended me to use that instrument, and some of you have seen me play here, it's because I turned it over to God. Don't try to solve your problem. It will not work. It'll only make you frustrated. And when your immune system gets compromised, you don't need to be doing any kind of worrying. Because when your immune system is compromised already, it'll go down faster. And there were times I could not take the treatment because the white blood count was too low. So I didn't need to be frustrated by trying to figure out what I should or why it happened. So I didn't look at the mountain. Lord said, lift up your eyes to the hills from where your help coming from. My help coming from. He has a hill already. So that's why I left it. Amen.
I just realized he was the only male. Huh? Oh, that's her son. Oh, okay. Yeah. She's very young.
Heavenly Father, we come before you said it again further in the word to the children of Israel. Is there anything too hard for me? I am God, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed, because I am coming to get you. And then when I come, I need to have you on my side. So Lord, there are many requests of those that you brought into this building, knowing that you even remember those tears that you hear us cry unto you. In our desperation, because we know we are unable to do it. So we know that you have said in your word in John 15:5, without me, ye can do nothing. But with you we can accomplish all. All we need is even faith the size of a mustard seed. He honors that as well. You realize so many things faces us. Fear. But the one thing you need to keep in mind that there is no one that's going to enter heaven fearful. We have to have our fear taken care of right here where we are. We have to trust Him. And you know the song says, "'Tis so sweet to trust Him, to depend upon you wholly." Many of us are trembling in our feet, coming before situations that we face. In this box are many requests. Various needs. The Lord said that you will give us the strength where we are weak. You will be our Jehovah Jireh to supply every need that we can think of. You have also been our Rapha, that you have healed us with your stripes. I'm a witness, Lord. I know that you are able. So, Lord, strengthen us to hold on to you, realizing that you calm the sea. You spoke to the wind. You created this world that we're in, the one world that went away from you, but you're claiming us back. So remove anything in our hearts that will prevent you from answering each of these prayers. For you said, if we are a God and iniquity in our heart, you will not hear us. And I know that these prayers are from the saints who know they have a need for you. These young people are in school trying to finish. They need something in their minds to enable them to finish school. Last, that you will be with each one of them. To realize there's not old people that pray on, children should pray as well. And then here, you answering their prayers, they need to praise you as well. Father, we lift our voices to you, for no other help have we. For if you turn your back on us, what will we do?
That's right.
So Father, guide our thoughts, that we leave here not the way we came, trusting you, or trust and obey, for there's no other way.
Oh, hallelujah.
To be.
Thank you, God.
You know what the rest of it is saying. Happy in Jesus. Just trust and obey.
Amen.
Hug somebody and let them know it's going to be all right.
It's gonna be all right.